All right. Hello, 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 ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us today for a first ever live webinar, RWISOA, working in conjunction with NISOA. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We are working on some little technical issues here with our presenters, but we should be done very soon. So while we work with a little technical difficulties, I'm going to introduce to you Lens. Lens, you online, right?
Yeah, I'm here.
You have the voice, you have the power, so you.
Well, thanks, Richard. Everybody, hello, good evening. On behalf of NISOA, I wanted to make sure that we had representation here at this wonderful educational opportunity that RWISOA and Richard Rodriguez have put together for everyone. I think it's an incredible opportunity, especially during these times where we are on some restrictions on what we can do. So I just wanted to thank Richard and his team for their hard work and efforts in making this happen. We at NISOA are very sensitive to the current situations everybody is going through, both financially and professionally. So we really do take that very seriously, and we're starting to roll out a couple new educational initiatives to help provide, our own form of a stimulus to our membership. And you all are the first to hear about this. It's going to be going live next week. And what we're going to be doing is we're going to be doing weekly video quizzes. It's for 8 weeks. There's going to be one video quiz a week. It's going to be video clips. It's going to be 10 clips. And everybody will have the chance to go in and take the video quiz. Now, winners will be awarding 9 winners prize money for the most correct answers. For example, first place is going to have, I believe it is $275, all the way down to 9th place, which will be $100. We were very fortunate enough that the NISOA Foundation Fund saw and understands the value that we're trying to provide here, both educationally and some financial assistance to our members that are in need. And so we're very, very appreciative of this. More information will be coming out by Monday, and that will be distributed to everybody via mass email. A couple other things too that we're working on. We're working on a webinar series like Richard is taking on here. We're looking at trying to figure out what are going to be the best ways to do this. If it's going to be a small sessions, or we do large summit style webinars. We've also are fortunate enough to have some help with our pro and FIFA referees that are NISOA members. They are in the process right now of creating educational content specific to the collegiate game. We're very fortunate enough to have them willing to help us with that, and we're going to be able to take that educational material and be able to provide it to you all, whether it be in a webinar style for the future, or we're going to do audio recordings of them presenting the material, and we will be able to distribute that and probably host that on our NISOA YouTube channel. So I can't stay on the call very long, but I just wanted to make sure I said hello to everybody. We're really thinking, we're really concerned and really thinking about everyone. And please, if you have any questions, if you have any ideas going forward, I'm always a phone call or an email away, lance@nisoa.com, and then now our new managing director, Tori Penso, tpenso@nisoa.com as well. We are here for you, and we hope you have a great night. You have 2 great presenters today with Brian Dunn and Dr. Joe. What an incredible night for education. So thank you very much, and please be safe.
Let me go over a couple of informational things here. Who we are, who's RWISOA. I'm not going to take too much time on this. So simply go to our website, rwisoa.org. You see who we are and what we do. We are obviously a chapter of NYSOA. If you go to nysoa.com, you like to join the college refereeing, feel free to log into nysoa.com, and depending on what state you call it from, you'll find the contact information so you can join a local chapter. And this is the NYSOA website, pretty easy to go through it. I would like to right now I'd like to take a couple of minutes to thank the RWISOA Board of Directors. Thank you for listening to my crazy ideas and helping me go through all these crazy things that we would like to do here. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be able to do any of this. Ash Kamel, Vice President, thank you. Dave Bork, Secretary. Klaus Whitney, Treasurer. And Brian Dunn, Member at Large. But like every organization, it's not just the Board of Directors that do get things done. Actually, there are a million people in the background doing things. I'd like to thank our 3 directors. They make things happen. We'll come up with the crazy ideas, but these people make things happen. Robert Sabiga, Director of Instruction, Gallo Trujillo, Director of Assessment, and Felipe Russi, Director of Fitness and Practical Training. Thank you guys for your hard work. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't get anything done. I'd like to thank Lance and obviously Tori Penso as well, and obviously our president, Gary Huber. Thank you for your support. Thank you for everything you're doing for the referees, the college officials, especially during this time of crisis. Thank you for your support. We really appreciate it. And just real quick, what our format? This is what you expect to see pretty much every day for the next 10 weeks. We'll try to have 3 special guest speakers coming in. 2, they will talk for a few minutes, and then we'll have a main presenter. Today, our special guest speaker is Dr. Joe Matchnick. Our guest presenter was Lance. He was pretty quick, but he gave us some good information there. And our main presenter today is going to be Brian Dunn, 2019 MLS Assistant Referee of the Year. And he'll be handling the Dealing with Conflict clinic for today. The schedule is up on the website. That's the direct link. I remember every Friday, 7 p.m., we'll have different topics. These are some of the confirmed speakers. Obviously, Dr. Joe Matchnick and Brian, thank you very much for such a, making yourself available in such a short notice. Thank you. Next week, we have Robert Sabiga, MLS Pro Referee. We have Lance coming back with a nice presentation about, I believe, focus and concentration. And then we have Tari with a beautiful presentation on the differences between men's and women's soccer, especially doing college. We have Essie. Who's going to forget Essie, right? 1998 match between Norway and Brazil. He actually is the one that opened the door worldwide for U.S. referees. Due to the beautiful call, the great decision, doing that PK decision, he really opened up the doors for everyone else. So he's going to be one of the presenters. And Dr. Donald Wilbur, Corey Rockwell, World Cup AR, Chico, Manny Ortiz, Paul Tamburino, 4 times MLS Referee of the Year, and a signer for multiple D1 conferences, and many, many, many more.
This is a little awkward for me, not being able to see people or talk to people or hear responses. It's just me speaking into my computer. But when I made this PowerPoint, Rich told me, he asked me if I could talk a little bit about my season last year. So it's not so much that I'm going to discuss it in full, but the first couple slides are some pictures from the good year I had last year. Going into the season, I thought it was my retirement year. I had spoken to my boss before the season started, and what many people don't know about me is I've had several severe injuries in the last year was my first fit year. Prior to that, I had had a hernia surgery in 15, a hernia surgery in 16. I started 2017 with back surgery in January. Rehab, got back onto the field in March. Rehabbed, got through the season, did 15 games, did well enough to get a playoff game. And unfortunately, getting off the plane from that playoff game, I wasn't able to walk off the plane because I re-injured the same disc and had to have a second back surgery 10 months after the first. Pretty intense. And my boss told me my career was over. He says, your body's falling apart and I'm not going to use you. And that part of my career was not, I wasn't accepting that. So I rehabbed. I busted my butt in the gym. I know someone asked a question earlier. Well, I saw a question about my fitness. That season, I did 2-a-days in the gym. I went to the gym 6 in the morning and then 3:30 in the afternoon after I got off of my job as a teacher. I worked out twice a day for 3 to 4 hours per day, lost 30 pounds. I was probably in some of the best shape of my life. And when he told me I wasn't fast anymore, I was second fastest at the running test in the sprints, only being beat by Nick Uranga, who's now a current FIFA referee, and also 26 years old, beat me by 5/100ths of a second. So I had a good season. Put all my stuff into work, everything I've learned over the years. And the first thing I was called by Greg Barkey, and he asked me if I would do the All-Star game. So that's me right here. That's walking out with the MLS All-Stars and Atletico Madrid. And this was the crew before the game when we were walking the field. We took a nice picture of the empty stadium down in Orlando. I know it's a little distant, but we had a great time at that game. I was AR1 for that match. Then I got a call from Barkey again. Told me I was given AR1 at the MLS Cup. That's me right there next to Chappie and Corey Rockwell, who's a presenter in 2 weeks. So my season started being told that I wasn't going to be working too much anymore. And I finished with the All-Star game. I started with the All-Star game. Then actually in the summertime, I was called and they asked me to do the fifth official, which comes up next at the US Open Cup. So this is how I spent August. I went down to Atlanta and I got to be with Chappie again and Brian Pochel and Nick Uranga, the guy I was just talking about, and Rami Touchon. And we were the referees for the US Open Cup match. And we had a great time again. So my season, thinking that I wasn't going to be doing much, ended up becoming a season of a lot of firsts. Most games I've done in a season, I had 26 regular season matches, All-Star game, US Open Cup. Then I get the MLS Cup final, and to find out 2 weeks before the MLS Cup final that I won MLS's AR of the year. Sorry. So for someone who was being put out to pasture, I had a pretty damn good season last year. And now I'm going to talk to you a little bit about conflict. Now, I don't know who's on the call. I know there was about 180 people when I moved my PowerPoint up. There was 220 when we started. These clips that I'm going to play later on in the thing are all MLS clips. Most of them are from this year, and I picked a couple from last year. It's possible that some of the people on this call may be on the clips. It's possible that some people on this call know the referees on this clip. It's not for us to discuss whether they did it right or did it wrong or any of those things. It's more, there were clips I was able to pull up that show situations of conflict during games on the field, in the technical area, with rookies, FIFAs, experienced referees, and how they handled it. The big difference in these clips are the games we do on a daily basis for RWISOA, or even on the high school level, as some people are trying to get into RWISOA, is these players are all being paid decent salaries. And these coaches are getting paid $1 million salaries. So their behavior, dealing with their conflicts sometimes is a little easier because they don't want to lose their salaries, and they get fined when they're in conflicts, and they get fined when we're in mass confrontations. We don't have that so much in the college game. So here we go. I'm going to start a little bit with some slides. We throw in our logo a little bit, okay? So factors to think about for each confrontation. Now, Rich went over some of them already, but one of the main things we have to worry about, the number of people that are in the conflict, how heated the situation is, our body language or the body language of the players, the distance between the participants, and how quick of a reaction is needed to diffuse the situation. So these are things I want you to think about as we're going to look at clips in about 4 slides, all right? How many people are involved? Is it just 2 players where we can get in there and probably stop it quickly? Is it something we can use our voice to try stopping it before multiple people can come into it? How heated is it? Is it just 2 guys just talking smack to each other, or does it look like there's going to be possible altercation or something where we have to get there quicker? If you can read the reaction of a player on the ground who may be getting up very fast, that means we have to be faster to the situation to try stopping it, preventing it before it happens. Reading the body language of the players is extremely important, and the distance between the participants. Is someone running from 10 yards? Is it 2 players laying on the ground from a tackle that you're thinking there could be a retaliation? These are factors we need to think about when a confrontation or conflict is about to happen. So body language. When a conflict happens, your posture says a lot to the players and the coaches. Thank you, Rich. Your posture says a lot when we're dealing with players and coaches, all right? If you, as Rich said, you saw the face of the gentleman on the left, kind of looked like he was unsure of himself. And then you saw the picture of Colina on the right. Colina was very stern. He was very secure in his posture, his body language, his facial movements. And that's something that the players pick up on, and that's something that the coaches pick up on when we're talking in the technical area. We'll see some incidents, and I'll talk through them, and I'll probably try to stop some of my video clips and show you what I'm talking about with certain, maybe you'll pick them up. I know we won't be discussing it, but I'll discuss it like you guys are talking back to me. Show confidence. Don't show a weak stature. Shoulders back, showing that your posture is good and that you are in control, not that they're in control and you're scared of something's going to happen. You want to show that confidence that you have it under control and that you are going to be able to take care of the situation confidently. Okay, stay calm. You don't want to raise your level to a level higher than them and start to freak out. Like we saw the guy with the gun. We saw the guy, the 1AR, I'm not sure if you saw it. I've seen that clip before. He kicks that player in the chest, and as the player falls to the ground, he's punching him while he's on the ground. We don't want to ever get ourselves into a situation like that. Okay, we want to be able to stay calm and rise inside of ourselves to the occasion so that none of the conflict will get to us. Stay relaxed. Try not to add fire to the situation with our body language or actions. I was trying to find you a clip from 2 years ago in one of my games where I got ripped by my assessor and I got ripped by pro, where they told me that the way I came into the situation, they felt inflamed the situation rather than me calming the situation down. I read everything that I told you on that first slide. I read the number of players. It was far from the referee's area of control. It was on the corner of the 6, and the referee was coming out. It was goalkeeper had punted the ball, and something was happening on the 6. I took off sprinting in there, trying to stop it before anyone got in there, and I went in a little too fast and ended up bumping into one player chest to chest. Another player hit my arm. My flag went flying in the air, and by the time I picked my flag up, the whole situation was over. And they told me that because I came in so fast and so hard, that I excited the players rather than them calming themselves down. So that's something we need to think about when we see a conflict or a situation happening, how we approach it, that we don't inflame the situation, but we're able to settle the situation down. Okay? Making eye contact is very important. There was a clip that Rich showed towards the end of a young college official, and he had his head turned, and the coach was talking to his ear. And a lot of those situations, the coaches just want to know that you're hearing them. They want to be able to see it, that you're understanding what they're talking about. Making eye contact goes a long way to building that relationship with coaches and players. Looking to the side, looking down, turning around, ignoring them, making them talk to your back. All these things inflame situations. So having confidence, being calm, showing you're in control of your body, and making eye contact with whoever's in the conflict will definitely help you settle situations. And avoid contact if possible. All right, if we have to get between two players, sometimes it happens, we get between them is the best thing to stopping a conflict from happening. But it's not always the best option, because once you make contact, they feel they have the right to contact you, and it creates an awkward situation. Okay? Having the respect of certain players, someone like myself somewhat gets away with it nowadays in games because I'm much more respected in the league. People know me in the college game. I've been doing it since 2005, so 16, 17 years in the college game. College coaches all know me, so they tell their players before the game. There's a respect factor when I step onto the field in the conferences I work in. If I do high school games, it's the same thing. They tell the players who I am prior to the game, so I don't get as much conflict with them. So knowing, especially with the college students, you don't know if a college player is 17 years old and is a minor or a 21-year-old player, and it doesn't take much for you to be coming in like I did in that MLS game and I couldn't stop and I belly bumped the player. If that's a 17-year-old player, you could have ramifications if their parent likes to be a litigation type person, and they would think that that's an assault because you made contact. You have to be careful with making contact with the players. Okay, I'll show you a clip where I make contact later in the thing, and you can see it's mutual and it's agreed upon between the two participants, and it works in that game. Okay, use your words carefully. And some of the words I put up there, I'm not trying to offend anyone, but these are terms that I've heard throughout my career from referees, and some that I actually used and backfired on me, and some things I say now that actually help. Okay, so show respect when speaking to the players or coaches. Don't use words like, come on, son. I've heard that at regionals back when I was coming up. I know this is a college thing, but I was at regionals and a kid called a player son, and the kid turned around and said, you ain't my effing dad. So then the referee sent them off for foul and abusive language. That situation was created by the referee for using one of these terms. Okay, I put sister and girlfriend in there because sometimes we might have a male reffing in a female game and say, come on, girlfriend, what's up with that? You think you're being cool, we've just offended that girl. Okay, and that's something, it's not cool to go, yo, dude, come on, seriously, dude, bro, come on, bro. We're not surfers. We're not there to be their friends. We're there to call a just game, keep everyone safe, and try to keep everyone out of danger. Okay, so to be careful with the words you use: son, bro, dude, sister, girlfriend. I'm sure there's a whole bunch others. Those are the most common ones I heard in my career, and the ones that cause the most problems. As I was just saying, we think it's getting to their level because they're youth players still, but this is a sign of disrespect by most of them. You say those terms, they think you just disrespected them. Okay? You terms like, I hear you. I understand what you're talking about. Work with me. Help me help you. Okay? Things like, I'm listening. Okay? All of these things will help you in a conflict. Okay? If you get to that situation where they say, I was foul, and you say, no, it wasn't a foul. I say, hey, help me help you. I'm trying to calm you down and keep you in the game. Okay? If you work with me, I can work with you. Maybe I missed that one, but I'll get you on the next one. Okay, that helps in that little conflict, which we're going to see in one of the first clips, where that's a situation that help you, would be a perfect situation for a young referee in the league. No, this is a different one. Okay, so this is one, I thought this was towards the end. This is me right here, I'm pointing, hopefully you guys see it. I'm the hand pointing at the guy in black. If you see right here, that's the end of the technical area. Right here is the coach of New York FC. So what I need you to concentrate on is this touch line right now when this video starts. Let me just turn the sound down so you don't hear these announcers like crazy screaming and stuff. Please. All right. So if you watch, it's going to be right about where my hand is in a second. Okay. All right, look where he is. Oh, let me go back a second. I didn't go back far enough. Hold on, sorry. A little bit there. Oh, I keep missing it. All right, stop. Oh, hold on, let me drag you. Sorry, technical difficulties. All right, so let's look where he is. So let's relate this to the college game. We know that coaches are supposed to stay in their technical area, okay? What you might not have seen in the beginning of this clip was there is a possible high kick. That's what the coach was upset about. Let's see if I can. I think the clip starts after it. It does. So right here, this player was behind the blue player, and he sticks his foot up kind of in front of the player and makes contact with the ball, and then he goes down the line, okay? And as he starts going down the line, the coach has his hand up because he wants me to call a foul. He thought it was a dangerous play, high kick. In a college game, I probably would have called a high kick, being that this is the red zone, and this coach is standing right there with the whole bench right here. We wouldn't probably have fans sitting this close, but this got him so animated that when I fast forward, so let's see. He's right here. This is, the midfield line is 10 yards to here. This was another, I think, 5 yards, so 15. He gets all the way down to this T, which is another 15. 30 yards down the touch line he gets. Let's see if I can find it. Okay. Here it is. There's the end of the technical area. He's turned towards me screaming. Do you notice there's not someone here helping me out? I know you can't respond, but there should be someone helping me here. As soon as he stepped out of the box. I know a lot of our games don't have fourth officials, but if you are a fourth official, you should be on your bike coming down here to help me out, okay? Or whoever your AR on this side of the field is. So I'm going to let it play. It's going to go on the field a little bit, and it'll come back. Watch the top of the box. Oh, sorry. Went too far back. I want you to watch it, okay? He wants it. Here he's coming. You can't see him yet. He's coming. He's coming. Still, we don't have a foul. Play on. All right. He's going to pop up in a second. Now, he's still there. I'm still doing my job, or trying to. Here we go. Watch. Look. Here he is. He's chasing me. He's chasing me. Now the fourth official decides to start walking. He's in there. Hey, come on over here. Come on over here. That's not going to work. I'm still trying to concentrate on the game, trying to get him out. He's still there. Notice how he didn't come back yet? He was so animated that I was not doing my job. This was 28 minutes into the match. Okay? The fourth official has to do a better job at helping with this conflict. Reading the number.
Brian, let me ask you a question. Since the people cannot ask you direct questions, they emailing me and they chatting and etc. Let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Fourth official is all good and done when we doing our B games. The majority of the referees right now, they're not doing those kind of games. They're not doing our D1 games where we have fourth officials. They're actually doing games with three. When they're lucky, they have three referees. So you as an AR1, can you give him some sort of tip on how to manage that behavior without creating a conflict?
Going for it. I'm going to try to find it. So when I'm coming here, it's hard to see in this video. I couldn't zoom in. But if you watch my left arm, I'm telling him, not right now, not right now. I'm trying to keep one eye on the field. So I'm still at Yankee Stadium. It's very hard to be level, but I'm trying to stay level with the last defender. and I'm trying to talk to Dome at the same time. So I wasn't able to make full eye contact with him. But I'm telling him, you know, I'm trying to say, calm down, relax, give me a second. It wasn't a dangerous play. Alan and I were talking, and I was trying, and he was just so animated. Eventually, he follows me, which we'll see. All right, so you can try watching my arm. I start pointing. I'm pointing at him. I'm pointing again. I'm telling him to go back. I'm telling him to go back. Domi's he's still talking to me. I point again. We're still talking. The fourth official takes over from there. The ball ends up going downfield, so now the coach he comes up to me to talk to me again. I try giving him peace because most of the college coaches just want to know that they're being heard. I tried not to turn my back on him. I tried turning my body not square to the field, perpendicular to the field. So my right shoulder was on the touch line and my left shoulder was towards him. So I was able to still see the ball ahead of me and be able to turn my head every once in a second to him to let him know that I was listening to him. Okay? Now what you'll see on the next clip, here we are. If you notice the time on the clock, it's 7 minutes later. This was the first time that we were able to speak calmly. And you'll see it's only a 5-second clip because the camera obviously was worried about the goal scorer. They weren't worried about us talking. But I'm going to try to play it, and I don't know what else. Okay, as you saw, as I was saying before, you see that we made contact. Now, if you watch, I'm telling him the foot's high. See my hand? He's pointing, looking at the ground, talking, telling him about the foot, and I'm trying to tell him the foot was high, but there was distance between the face. Okay, so at our level, this was not a dangerous play because although the foot was high, the skill level of the players does not consider this a dangerous play at my level. Okay, you see he puts his arm around me to pat me on the back. There's his hand touching my tushy, but I didn't get offended. Okay, there's my hand going on his back saying, hey, are we good? We agree? Everything's okay now? He says, and you see he puts his hand on his chest. I just wanted to know that you heard me. That was what his hand on his chest was. I'm sorry I left my box. It will not happen again. Because in a college game, right, if they leave the technical area, we can give them a caution, right? Warning, caution, send them off. I told him, as far down you are on the line, you're going to get yourself thrown out today. Stay in your box, and when I'm in that area and can talk to you, we will talk. The first opportunity I had was at the 35th minute, and I went over and I talked to him. He never left this technical area again the rest of the match. He never questioned another call from me the rest of the match. And after the game, came up to me after the match, shook my hand in the whole cruise match, and apologized to all of us. So I kept calm during the match. I was stern with him and pointed to his technical area. Sir, you need to go back. Sir, you need to go back. Sir, you need to go back, or I am going to have to call Alan over to deal with you. It was kind of my ask, like the ask, tell, dismiss. I was asking him sternly. I never really got fully to the tell, which I would have brought Alan over to give him that tell. But I know he was animated, and it was an emotional response from the coach. He wasn't trying to demean me or anything. It was an emotional response, a reaction to what that play was. And as you can see from our reaction 7 minutes later, we were like best friends. Okay? So next clip.
So do you agree? This worked at the professional level. This may work at some youth level, but we know at the college level it's a little bit different. Sometimes we need to be a little bit more. We use more psychology to deal with that behavior. At the end of the day, right? The referees are being assigned by someone who has a contract with the league, right? So in other words, kind of like we are being paid by the institutions. So can we share maybe different techniques to deal with the same behavior at different college levels? We all know that we work different levels. The entry level being the JUCO, right, and the Division III. And because we know that the way we're going to manage that situation, deal with that situation, is going to be different from a JUCO game than a D1 game, let's say a Big East game, right? The level of coaching is different. So can you give different ways? So what you think a way to manage it differently? Maybe I'll throw one in there. So I'll give you a couple of seconds to think about a different way to manage it. Is that fair? So do you think it will work if you're the AR1 and you would tell the coach, yes, I'll get right back to you. I'll get right back to you. I promise you I'll get right back to you, even though he's going crazy. And then when you have that conversation, say something something close to, Coach, no, I understand. I understand what you saw. I understand. This is what I saw from my angle. And I understand exactly what you're saying. And you may be right, right? But I have to base it on what we saw between the referee and myself. We came up with this decision. Are you probably right? Maybe from your angle, you have something different, and go and somewhere like that. Work it out that way. What do you think? You think it's going to work?
So that's why I said in that previous clip, I had the things where I said, I hear you, I understand, those type of things, because like you're saying, the coach is looking at it from the back. He can just see the foot's high. He can't see, it's all about angles. And that's one of the things, like you're saying, Coach, I hear you, but from my angle, it looked different. I get it from your angle. It looked like it was a dangerous play. But from my angle, there was space between the players. That's why it wasn't a call. That's not going to calm them down. And then that's kind of where the point where you're going to have to say, Coach, at this point, we're going to have to agree to disagree. I have to move on. So, with the game, I have to concentrate on the field. I can't sit here and have a conversation with you about this. It's that sometimes upsets the coaches too. But again, like Rich is saying, we have different levels of coaches. We have JUCO coaches that sometimes are just like high school coaches or former players that are trying to relive through the college game. They're getting $10,000 a season, and they're like, not to sound rude, but they're almost like a glorified high school coach, up to a D1 coach where, like UConn, the guy's getting paid $1 million a year to coach at UConn. There's a difference between the coaching salaries, the coaching philosophies, their tenures. What works at UConn doesn't work with Dave Major at St. John's. I happen to use locals here because I know those guys. The way I can talk to the guy at St. Francis, the way I could work with the guy that used to be at LIU Brooklyn, right? There were different coaches, different philosophies. Some like to scream and yell. I'll relate it to MLS because most of us watch MLS games. If I'm trying to deal with Jim Curtin from Philadelphia, it's very easy. He never raises his voice. He very rarely questions the referee. So if he raises his voice, you kind of like, oh, Jim had something to say. Maybe I got something wrong. I'll listen to him and give him his 2 seconds of peace. But if you get a guy like Ben Olsen or a guy like at Kansas City, Peter Vermees, or Giovanni Savarese at Portland, from the first whistle you blow, every single thing you do is wrong, and they want to tell you about it. You'll never win in those conversations. You'll never win. So it's one of those things where, Coach, I hear you. From my angle, I had something different, and we're going to have to agree to disagree today, and we're going to have to move on.
Very well.
Right? Sound good?
Yeah, very well.
So let's move on, because I have like 9 more clips, and I see there's only about a half hour left, and I'd like to get to a couple of good ones. I might skip a couple, but this is one where watch the body posture of the AR in dealing with the guy who's on the ground right now, and watch the body posture of the referee when he's dealing with players on the field on this play. Let me just turn the sound down a little bit. So here's why this player is upset. Whoop! See that little elbow? As he was pushing him out of bounds, his arm slid up the shoulder and kind of hit the guy a little in the neck. And then Rossi goes flying into the boards. Okay? But if you watch the AR in this play, and it's not about who the ARs or what he's doing. He looks a little nervous. He's not. He made eye contact there, shaking his head a lot, blinking a lot. He's not making eye contact with them. He's staring at the referee the whole time. Look at Allen. Eye contact, stern. You can see the veins in his neck. And what does that defender do? The defender who misbehaved walks away from Allen. Allen doesn't walk away from the player. Allen looks at him, gives him a point. He's stern, his face, eye contact, and that player who's first year in the league, I don't even know if he speaks English, he walks away from Allen and has a lot of respect for Allen at that point of the game. Whereas if you look at Rossi is not so happy with our AR. Whoops. Rossi wants to know he's being heard. He keeps looking. I'm trying to talk to the ref. He's saying. I was on this game. That's why I'm telling you what he's saying. I'm telling him. I'm trying to tell him, hold on. But he's not making any eye contact with them. He's just staring at Allen. This inflames Rossi to keep going a little bit. Okay? It was a good time for him to make eye contact with Rossi and let him know, I hear you. Give me a second. We're settling this right now. I'm talking to the ref. Instead,
So we know, Brian, in a play like this and at college level, I will say 9 out of 10 times we'll end up in a mass confrontation.
100%. 100%.
So give me 3 things that will not work at a college level that these referees did, and name me 3 things that you think is going to work at a college level to manage this this play.
The first thing is I'm going to try to stop it. You see he's kind of walking slowly over there? You see the end of the clip. As soon as I see this contact coming over here, as soon as I see that, oh, God, sorry, I thought I paused it. He's even with them here, right? And stop. As soon as I see this, if I look here at the AR's face, the AR is looking to see if the ball's inbounds. That's pretty obvious it's going out. He ain't getting there, right? I think he doesn't see this contact fully, but when I see this 4 yards of space, I am in a dead sprint. I don't stop. I'm in a dead sprint to make sure that there is no reaction between these 2 players. This is what I was talking earlier in one of the first slides, reading the body language of the players. This is a very hard challenge. About 4 yards, the boards are about 4 yards away. Of this AR is really got to continue to get between these players to make sure that when blue gets up, because in the college game, that blue player is getting up. And that blue player is charging 100 miles an hour towards that white player to hit him from behind. So first and foremost, AR, whoever this is, needs to bust his butt or her butt to get between these 2 players once he falls down. And once he falls down, you're there and saying, we got this, we got this, we got this. And try to block using your body, not making physical contact, almost like you're shielding that player off the field to make sure that they have to go through you or around you to create more time and space for the conflict to settle down. At the same time, again, these are professional players. The referee would also have to be seeing this play, a concerted effort to continue that sprint to get there, because we know in the college game that as soon as this happens, Rossi is one of their better players. So just pretend this is the number 10 on any team that you're working with. You know they're coming to protect him. This is their Messi. This is their Ronaldo. When he gets pushed out of bounds, everyone's coming to defend him. The goalkeeper, the stopper, the sweeper, the other forwards. Everyone's going to come to make an argument why this guy should not be getting sent off or to start a fight. So heightened senses from AR to stop a possible retaliation on the floor. Heightened senses by the referee getting closer to the situation to assist before anyone else comes in. And then, unfortunately, in a college game, you may have a mass confrontation. At that point, once it's more than 3 or 4 players, I'm backing off because I'm not getting involved with physical contact with college players. And I'm going to be using my words. And if I'm the referee in the whistle, with the whistle, I'd be trying to use my whistle to try at a high-pitched sound, trying to get them to stop. Tweet, 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 tweet. Guys, knock it off. Tweet, tweet, tweet. Knock it off. We got this. Calm down. And if that doesn't work in the 30 seconds that it usually takes to settle one of these confrontations, talk to my AR, get to the bottom of it, dish out my my misconducts, and get on with the game. Sound okay, Rich?
That sounds great. So basically what you're saying is what we do at the college level is we being more proactive than anything else. We react little. We try to react less. We need to be proactive.
The college players, especially on the male side, the college players have that they're still getting used to their bodies. They're just maturing. They want to show that they're a big man, that, as people would say, the testosterone level. They're trying to show that they're stronger than the other players. So someone pushes me, I have to push back. That's the mentality you have to expect when challenges like this happen in a guy's game. I've had it in a girl's game. Last year, Tambo, it was one of Tambo's games. He watched it because I called him as soon as I got in my car. I said, look, I know both coaches weren't happy. They thought it was a very physical game. I said, but I was never more than 5 yards from play the entire match. I ran 9.7 miles in that match. I said, I couldn't breathe after the game. I said, I could barely walk the next day, but I made sure, because I knew the way these girls were going at it. The schools were about 10 miles apart. They were trying to kill each other. I stayed literally 10 yards, 5 to 10 yards apart, no matter where the ball went. So whenever they got into a conflict like this, I was able to step between the girls. Before they were
basically, you're saying one of the main differences between college games and U.S. soccer sanction games is, number one, the type of players, right? They're young, right?
Yep.
And they're trying to prove to the coaches that they belong in that team, and they need to prove to the coach that they can stay in that first team, number one. Number two, as you said, they're the schools, they play against each other year after year. They're the same schools. Yes. So now we're talking about rivalries here for maybe a very long period of time. So we know we're going to have to deal with that. So it's not just the game itself. It's not just what's happening at that game, but also what happened the game prior. Correct?
Correct. Yeah. There's so many different aspects to these players in college that then a lot of these players too, a couple games this year, a lot of these players are playing like academies or something, or they were academy players before they went to college, or however that works, and they know each other from the weekend games playing for playing for the New England Revolution or the New York FC Academy under 18 team, and you don't know what happened in their Sunday game in an academy match while they're playing in college, things like that, or a PDL match over the summer that turned into a game in the fall. So 100%, Rich.
So that's good to know. What do you have next?
This is I wrote this one as referee mass confrontation. This is one of our newest FIFA referees. It's not much to talk about, but I just want you to watch. I want you to watch his composure. I don't want to discuss this one too much because I know there's other clips that are much more discussion, especially the final clip of the day that I really want to get to. But this one, just watch Rubiel's composure when this mass confrontation. Okay, this a little bit. There's a little foul coming up. Here's a foul. He gets in. Look, he runs in there right away. He gets in there. He's like, I got this, guys. Look, I got this. Look, calm down. I got this. Calm down. I'm here, guys. I called it. We're all good. Eye contact. He's not screaming. He's not yelling. He's not raising his voice. He's totally calm. He's composed. He's settling. All the purple players have walked away from this now, except for one. Okay? Look, he runs in there. Look, he saw that the reaction of the players was to help him up. Look, I got this. He's telling them, I got this. Look, guys, relax. I'm here. I got this. We're good. It was a foul. Simple as that. All he's doing is talking to the one player who creates the foul. Look, purple's all happy. And then you're going to see a smile on Rubiel's face, which is it's just typical Rubiel. He gives the guys a smile. Okay? And everything's cool there. Look, it settled down rather quickly. Okay? So I just wanted to show you that in a quick mass confrontation, we didn't have to run on the field. He saw a foul. The player was standing over him. He was with close proximity. He ran, right? In college game, you'd expect that player on the floor possibly to up kick, right? So that's what Rubio's still doing a lot. He was doing a lot of college games towards the end of the season when his season ended. This was, I don't remember if it was beginning or end of the season. This is this year, first game this year. Rubio runs right to the spot. He taps the guy right on the back, but he sees the guy puts his hand out, not to be mean, but to help the player up. He read the body language. It kept calm. So when everyone else started coming in, he was able to keep them calm, and the whole situation settled rather quickly. Okay? I'm going to move to the next. Okay, so this one, we have a corner kick. So right here, you can see, I'm circling them with my hand. We have 2 white players. It looks like 2 white players, 2 red players. This is where there's going to be a minor conflict. I just want you to watch and how the referee deals with this, because we get this in a college game all the time. We're setting up for a free kick. You set the ball, you set your wall, your AR. If you have earpieces to say, hey, crap's going on behind you, get into the box, settle it down. I'll just say number 6 is getting into it with number 10 white. So watch what this referee, hard whistle, stern body. Look at that red guy screaming at him. Screaming. Look at the body posture. Screaming, leaning forward. He blows his whistle. In this conflict, the reason I brought this up is because he goes in there at first good. He goes in there with good, strong posture, very confident. As he's pulling the player away, which is good, bringing him out from what was going on, that red player is being more and more, it looks like, I'm not saying the referee did anything wrong here, but that player, if you watch, he starts pointing in the referee's face. You can see him leaning in, right? If the referee was any closer, he would have been headbutted. This player was not calming down, and he restarts the game right away. That player is now going to have that anger in him. He's going to possibly bring it into this play. He's not calmed down for the next phase of play with this referee, which means the next time something happens, who's going to be the first person to go after this referee is that player. He did not have to rush this. So in the college game, if you get in there and you see 2 players battling like that, and you think it's only red, and that's why you pull red away, you can't let that play restart, in my opinion. This is my opinion. Rich, if you think differently, go ahead and say so when I'm done. You can't let that player who's screaming at the top of his lungs, who's now making this public, it's not just personal one-on-one now, it's public because you are separated, and he is obviously with hand motions, his head's moving, he's leaning in. This part, you have to settle that player down before you can restart that play, in my opinion. That's the only reason I put it in there.
I agree with you 100%, especially at the college level. Everybody needs to remember one thing. To change behavior, the person who you're trying to change behavior from needs to start listening to you. And when someone is upset, shuts down for somewhere between 10 to 15 seconds. So that person is not going to hear anything. They're not going to listen to anything. So you need to take your sweet time. If you really want to communicate and change behavior in something like this, especially in college, you got to take your time. Put them to the side, say a couple of words, okay, and start managing something else, because you're not just managing one, you're managing 2, so start managing the other one, and then come back and say a couple of words. Once you see that reaction that he's actually listening, right? Don't confront the problem, but become a solution, either by saying, no, I understand what you're saying, I'll take care of it, or I understand you saw I missed that decision. I understand. I'll keep an eye on it, or whatever. Just be human, but take your time. The key element here, especially at the college level, take your sweet time.
Stop the clock.
We have a great tool.
You have all the time in the world. Stop the clock.
Exactly. We have that great tool. Stop the clock. You stop the clock. That give everybody a sense of, okay, we're not being cheat right now. They're not stealing time, so we're good. Now let the referee do what he has to do. Obviously, don't take a minute, but take your 10, 15 seconds and communicate. Say what you believe happened. Say that you understand what was being said to you, and give some sort of, solution. What is it that you're going to do for them? And then walk away. Be human. That's all they want. They want you to be human. Don't be arrogant. I don't pretend to be a police officer. All right? Just be human. And that's going to work.
In a college game, this is the perfect time, and this situation is to stop the clock, especially when you see him getting animated. Because most people, when they see you going to talk to someone and stop the clock, it heightens their senses that a possible card's coming, and they start to calm themselves down a little bit. That making that X in the college game to stop the clock sometimes will help you settle a player like this. Now he knows that you're serious because you stopped the clock. This is where, like Rich was saying, you can say now, okay, I stopped the clock. What do you have to say? Now listen to me. 30 seconds tops. Okay, get back into position. Here we go. This one is going out because I saw what you did. I'm going to be watching you. You touch him, I'm calling a foul coming out. That takes away your free kick opportunity. He's probably saying that White was pulling him or tugging him or whatever. Say, next time, I'll tell the same thing to White. I was watching. Last time it was for Red. This next time it's for White, and it's a penalty kick. And then you got him on your side. All right, so you can't let him go back. The key here is you can't let that guy who's screaming and spitting in your face basically because he's screaming so much, and that saliva balls are popping out in your face. You can't just go, oh shit, I'll just restart the game, because what's it telling to everyone else? You were scared by that reaction, so now I know when I want to get what I want, all I have to do is scream at you, you're going to do nothing. You can't let college players do that to you, okay? Do not. Oh, sorry, next clip. Okay, this is in the same game, okay? And this is one of those things where we see in the college game, and many of you might have been to Tambo's clinics or have seen his emails throughout the season, and he says in the college game, look, guys, if it smells like a foul, and it looks like a foul, and it looks like a foul, in the college game, just call a foul, and you'll see what I'm talking about in a minute. You may not think this is a foul. You may think this is a foul. But by not calling a foul on this play, it causes the mass confrontation. Would he have gotten a mass confrontation? I want you to think about this. Would he have gotten a mass confrontation if he called a simple foul? He probably would have gotten one or two players that go, that really wasn't. And you go, well, the bottom of the foot hurt, hit him, it was a foul in my eye. And they go, okay, so let's watch this play. And again, it's just in a college game, something like this will take your game from being in your pocket to going down the shoot tube in a quick one, okay? I didn't want to curse there because I don't know what age people are online. But it'll go right down the poop chute if you don't call this in a college game. Look, you got White yelling at him. White. No one in Red's upset. White's upset. White's upset. He's calling for a trainer. So if there was no foul, why are you calling for a trainer? Right? So obviously you saw something. He's in good position. For whatever reason, I'm not picking on the referee. In a college game, if you see this, if it looks like a foul, smells like a foul, call it a foul. Now look, he's got 4 white players, 5 white players around him, wondering why he's doing this. The white player just took the ball away from him. The coach from the red team who was fouled, if I remember correctly, I'm trying to remember now. No, White was fouled. He's like, what's going on? What's going on? Just restart the game. Now you have the captain going at the referee. He's trying to tell him, look, I get it. I see. I understand. Now he's trying to calm the captain down as to what's going on. Now the player who got hit is over arguing again. The player who came to his defense is over there to argue. All I'm saying here, guys, I'm not picking on the referee or the call. You could say either way. You could say White kicked the bottom of Red's foot. You could say Red came down into White's foot. But in a college game, a play like that, especially if you let it go, you've just set the bar that this play is acceptable and is not a foul. So therefore, when it happens the next time and you call it, they're going to be like, well, you didn't call it a minute ago. Why are you calling it now? You're inconsistent. It's going to cause more confrontation throughout the match. It's a simple call, middle of the field for the defense. Middle of the defensive third, I should say. It's in the defensive third for the defense. Simple call, bottom of his foot was exposed, makes contact with the top of the foot. Easier to call that and deal with the one player saying, we both had our feet up. You say, well, the bottom of your foot hit the top of his, so I'm going to give it to him. They would accept that more than this mass confrontation that took 2.5 minutes to get play restarted. Okay?
But let's not forget, in a college game, there will be some physicality for no reason. So let's remember, just to rewind a little bit, in a college venue, in a college game, what you do not call, you definitely encourage. So if you don't make this simple call, which is a simple foul, quick, tiny little whistle, right? And let's get going. And if the player requires attention, stop the clock and deal with it. But quick whistle, it will eliminate every problem. So remember, many times the clinic today is about dealing with conflict. Now, if you pay attention to what Brian has been saying, you can prevent conflict, right, by being proactive. And this is a perfect play right here with just a simple whistle. Make that call and keep making the same call throughout the game. You're not going to go wrong. At the college level, no one's going to say you calling too many fouls. The majority of the complaints are about referees not calling enough fouls, right? So
I agree with you. Yes. I know Tambo's email last year. That's what Tambo wrote that in every single email. I'd rather have calls saying you called it too tight than the calls I get every Monday saying that the referee let the game get out of control and I got 3 players injured now. So yeah,
and that goes for every assigner, every college assigner across the nation. Make the calls, blow the whistle, don't hold the whistle. If you don't call it now, you have to call it later. You created a problem. Just call the foul, and we deal with it tomorrow.
I don't know where my mouse just disappeared. Oh, what just happened? Oh, hold on, sorry. All right, so this one is a technical area, 4th official AR1. Now, in Division 1, you might have 4th officials, but just be aware, especially if you're an AR1, what's going to happen right over here where the MLS symbol is. This is what part of the screen I need you to keep your eye on, because that's where it's going to happen, okay? Some of you may have seen this game live. It was week 1. It was their ESPN game. So it's going to happen right here. Watch. Boom. Okay. So I don't know if you saw what happened, but the ball's clearly out of bounds by 1.5 yards. The coach, who's legitimately allowed to stand in his technical area, he stopped the ball with his foot. Okay? He stops the ball with his foot, but the player continues to try playing the ball. When he continues through, unfortunately, he does not kick the ball. He kicks the coach in his foot. Now, as you can see where I stopped it, we have 1 player right here, 1 coach, 2 coaches, 3 coaches. So right now we have 4. Oh, sorry, this is ball though. This is the 4th official. So we have 1, 2, 3 coaches and 1 player jumping up, and I stopped this 1 second after the contact. So if there is no 4th official, this is where AR1, who as you can see is down here, who is 5, 10, 12, 15 yards away, because these are 5 yards in our league. He's 15 yards away, should be trying to bust his butt or her butt to get there. Because either this player on the bench is going to hit him, or this coach is going to attempt to do something, or this coach, if he's not calm, and in the college game, these coaches are not calm, nor are these players on the bench, we're having a fight in the technical area. So let's just watch how it kind of plays out. Baldo gets there right away. He blocks the coach. I'm trying to come down, and I try to make a block for the other coaches. We had respect of this bench. See, boom, he hit him. I didn't react quick enough. Now we'll start to come. My bad, okay? The assessor liked how we handled it. However, as you can see, my reaction was a second late. I pointed to the throw-in, and as I looked over my shoulder, I saw the coach spin around, and then you saw me react. It was too late if this was a college game. I have to be quicker, okay? And the only way to try stopping this is to get there quicker as AR1. Use your voice the whole way and try to calm them down and get there before that bench can get closer to that player. Luckily, all we had out of this incident, the player was very calm. He just turned around and walked back to the field. Even when the assistant coach grabbed his arm, he did not swing at the coach. He didn't even react. I can guarantee in a college game, if someone would have grabbed a college player's arm, there would have been a punch thrown, or an elbow, or a swinging arm. There would have been a major mass confrontation. Both benches would have cleared. This is where we have to heighten our senses as referee and AR, hopefully a fourth official if it's D1, is to get there ASAP to try to stop any retaliation on the player who made contact with the coach. Okay, so that was there because I just wanted to show you that Baldo and we kind of got there. Baldo was there a little quicker. If you're a fourth official, get there even quicker. But Baldo had sorry, someone just texted me about one of our games this year who was on the call. Now I lost my train of thought. Thanks, Alex. You just got to get to that fourth official's table before all heck breaks loose between the benches here. All right.
And also, referee, if you play it back, you'll see the referee actually reacting to what just happened. He's going to start sprinting, right?
Yep. He comes in with his pistol and he starts running. We all three of us come at the same.
What's going on? He starts running, and that's important. Keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, that the majority of your games you don't have a fourth official. So, in plays like this, when the AR happen to be, the second to last defender puts him, 20, 30 yards away from the halfway line, and the play is close to the technical area, you as a referee, you need to be there. I know we're tired, we're running too much, but you know what? When the ball is between the technical areas, within 10, 15 yards into the pitch and near the technical areas, if the AR is not there and we don't have a fourth official, we have to be there no matter what.
Yeah.
Forget about positioning videos that they show you all over the place. Forget about things that they expect you to do. Sometimes, especially at the college level, you need to think outside the box. You are needed there. You need to be there in case something happens. And this same exact play, if it happens at a college level, I can guarantee you we have a mass confrontation.
Oh yeah,
I can guarantee you we have a couple of red cards.
Oh, there's definitely a couple of red cards. That bench player that was closest to him, he takes a shot at him for sure. And even that coach that steps up and grabs him, you might be sending him off as well. If the other bench doesn't clear and come over to protect their own player, which will happen in the college games. So definitely, if you're not there, more things are going to happen than not. All right, let's go on to the next clip. I don't want to keep everyone here all night. I think I have 3 more clips. This was the same game. I don't think it needs. Oh, no, it's a different game. So here's the fourth official. It's not the head coach. We have this often in the college game. In the college game, who gets the card majority of the time? Right there, the assistant coach. The assistant coaches are told to be the ones that scream and yell the most at the referees and do what they have to do because the coaches don't care if they get sent off. So in this play, he was doing, I'm guessing he was giving the fourth official, as we would say, a ration of poop. And the fourth official said, I have had enough at this point. He needs to be cautioned. And now in the USSF game, we're allowed to caution. So he actually walked over and cautioned that coach. In the college game, we've always been. If you can identify who that person is on the bench who is giving you or your AR that hard time. Tambo said, I keep going to Tambo because I get so many emails from him throughout the year. And a lot of people want to work for Tambo because he has about 14 different conferences. And so with him and Manny and Steve and whoever else is in that group, the ECSR group, that's 3/4 of the country are signed by those guys. They always say don't tolerate the bench behavior. Last year, I remember 6 emails in a row from Tambo. Do not tolerate the bench behavior. And everyone's scared to do it because they feel if they throw a coach or card a coach, the coach will call Tambo and then your assignments will disappear. Tambo's not that way. He's telling you to deal with it. If you don't, you will lose assignments. So if your coaches are getting out of control, do not be scared to walk over there and do like we've done in USSF. You can ask them first to behave. If they've crossed that line, give them a caution. If they've crossed the line, send them off. Whether you know them, you're friends with them, don't let that play into it. They need to respect you in the game. And if that has to be a yellow card or a red card, then that's the way it is. And I'll tell you honestly, I had a coach that I've known. He's a USSF scout for the developmental academy leagues. He's been coaching in college for 27 years. He stood up on the sideline this year and clapped when I blew my whistle for a foul. I walked over to him and I got face to face with him. And I said, I've known you for 16 years. If you clap again, you will not show me up. I will show you a red card and you are done for today. Final warning. Another word out of you, another look, another time you clap your hands, you will be done. Halftime was about 5 minutes later and he walked over to me and said, I don't know what got into me. I've never done that before. I will not get off the bench the rest of the game. He did not. And I had him the following weekend and he did not let one of his players talk to me. He didn't talk to me. Nothing. He was an angel. Was it because he's known me for 16 years? I don't know. Or is it because I walked over to him and said, you will not disrespect me in the game today? I'm okay with you saying that I finally gave your team a call. You thought I was calling a one-sided game, which I wasn't. But do not showboat as a coach. It's disrespectful to me. It's disrespectful to the game. And if you do it, I will send you off. And I turned around and walked away, and he got the message. I had him 4 times last year. It was last year. That was the first time I had him. I did not have a problem in the other 4 games with him that season. Deal with bench behavior, and then it does not escalate in your games.
Yeah, you definitely need to deal with it. When you see or hear something coming from the technical area, you need to deal with it. You cannot ignore it. I don't know if what that's going to work for other referees. I think that worked for you because you happen to know these gentlemen. I think one of my ways to deal with coaches, number one, is to talk to them the same way I would like them to talk to me, and I do like to listen to them the same way I listen to them, and I'm just straightforward. I'm just human, and what I do is I just present it to them as it is. This is not about you. It's not about me. It's about the game. Right now, we're taking over the game. It is not fair for them, right?
Correct.
Somewhere around that way, and something like open the line of communication by saying something like, we can talk. We can talk during halftime. We can talk after the game. We can even talk during the game, during a run by. But I will not tolerate irresponsible behavior coming from you publicly. If you do it publicly, I need to deal with you publicly, and kind of walk away. Not necessarily, that may not work for everybody, but kind of think about how doing it that way. Yeah, like you don't ignore it, you confront it, but you don't fight it, right? And always respect them. And
Yes.
if you want to get respect back, just make sure you talk to them in a way that the same way you want to be talked to.
And correct. And when I spoke to him, I went up to him so no one else could hear it. And I spoke in a very soft and calm, which some people would, I don't know what you would say, but it was, Coach, I've known you for how long? You know the way I ref. You've accepted it all these years. I do not want to see that again. That was kind of the way I spoke to him. It was almost like you're speaking to a child that has just misbehaved and you're trying to let them know that they've done something wrong, but you don't want them to stop loving you. That was it was a tough father moment to him, and he got the message. Now, this is the last clip I believe I have. I spoke quick because I didn't want Rich to jump in again because I know it's like 5 after 9, and I know this was only till 9 o'clock originally. When I look at this clip, I actually made this clip myself last night. I remembered it from a game last year. At this point where you're seeing Alan standing there talking to everyone, the incident happened 2 minutes ago. It was a tactical foul between two players. One guy was running down the touch line, a couple of yards outside the 18. The other guy just trips him. A clear tactical foul, SPA as we call it. But the player who trips the other guy gets in his face, and all hell broke loose. There was a guy got grabbed around the throat. Alan tried separating two guys. He got pushed. The AR came down. The fourth official came down. There ends up being, he gives a red card to one player. This goes to VAR. I didn't want you to concentrate on all that because it was basically everything. I probably should have put that clip in because it's everything that would happen in a college game and everything probably wrong that we could have done as officials because Alan got in there. He had physical contact. He's trying to push one player. He's trying to block another player. He ends up getting pushed. He gets shoved. The guy gets choked over the top of his shoulder, and he can't see it because he's being blocked by the players that he's being sandwiched between. But why I put this clip in is for technical area. This is a technical area clip. And as I know Rich said we don't have fourth officials in most of our games. But at this point, I'm going to relay this to AR1. Well, on the bench side, we don't have a fourth official. Let's pretend we don't have a fourth official. So AR1 is in charge of the benches. Alan now has this down the field taken care of. As this play starts, it's going to go right to the benches. And AR1 has to do, and I'm going to say AR1, not fourth official, because we're going to pretend there's no fourth. AR1 has to do something better about this. Come on, start. Okay. So he showed someone a red card. I don't know, more stuff's going on. Okay. Here's AR2 is in there, trying to help out. Okay. Look at this. These are the coaches. Look at the coaches. The coaches are fighting. It goes back to them. This guy gets out of the way. It'll come back to them in a second. He's checking with VAR right now, I believe. All right. Oh, I should turn the sound off. Sorry. They're still going, look. He don't want to talk to a player. He's not dealing with coaches. The coaches are getting animated. Yes, they're telling what's happening on the field.
All right. So we know this happens a lot in the college game where you get two coaches, they get irritated and they go after each other. You don't have a fourth official.
So AR1 deal with this.
Deal with it.
Somehow deal with this.
Whether the AR1, give me 3 or 4 pointers on how you would deal with it.
So the first thing that I saw there was, the AR1, they were all trying to listen, and this is why probably no one got involved in this particular incident. They were all trying to listen to the VAR. So everyone stayed out of everyone else's conversations. But for me, the AR1, because there's pretend no fourth is there, AR1's got to step up and try to step between these guys and say, look, I know you guys are discussing the play, but you're not in your technical area. Giovanni was 10 yards over the midfield line to argue with Peter Vermees. You cannot let a coach leave his technical area, walk over the midfield line, and start an argument with the other coach over this play. Okay? You have to somehow, as an AR, I'll say if fourth official is there, between AR, fourth official, or one of you, AR, needs to get between these guys and try to calm them down. Because all it takes in this instance, as they're reenacting what happened on the field, what happens if Gio's finger slipped and he poked Vermees in the eye? Or what happened if when Vermees was showing that the slap was coming, if he actually slaps Gio? In the college game, these coaches will probably fight. There's especially at the JUCO level, the Division III level, and Division II level. Maybe not Division I, although I've seen it come very close because some of our Division I coaches are former players, assistant coaches are former players, and they still think they're college kids. and they want to show that they're strong and that testosterone is building. We need to get there and step between them, at least create space. Guys, if you want to talk, let's talk calmly. Space between us. Come back to your side of the midfield line. You stay on your side. Use the midfield line at least as a barrier, and you stand between them or a little next to them, keeping space. This way, it's easier to separate them, and they're not so, maybe it'll calm them down a little. They may turn towards you a little bit, and then you can be the calming influence in this situation. Because
they may not fight in every college game, but what will definitely happen if you don't show some sort of presence there, if you don't have one of the officials nearby, is to have either assistant referees becoming involved with the conflict, or players, substitute players or field players becoming involved because they feel like they need to come and defend their coach. So the number one thing we need to do, we need to react. As soon as we see this, we need to get there. No matter what, we need to get there. And be careful in what you say and how you say it, because you don't want to be the one creating more conflict. You don't want to bring another problem into the discussion. You want to be the referee. You want to be the judge. You want to be the mediator. You want them to understand that you do understand what happened, that you do need a little bit of time to figure things out, and that everybody at the end of the day, at the end of the play, everybody's gonna have to accept the decision made by the officials. But the number one thing, we need to be there. You need to show presence and make sure that you don't instigate you there to, some sort of be a neutral party to bring confidence to both parties. That's pretty much what we should do in a situation like that. It is difficult when you don't have a fourth official.
Correct.
And in cases like this, especially at the college level, we don't talk much about that, but we should have talked more about it, is to referee a college game, technicality will not help you. To be a good college official, you need to learn to find a perfect balance between technicality and practicality. Because think about it, and this play right here, this situation, if you're too technical and you apply the rules black and white, you're gonna have a problem. Because you're gonna have a serious problem. Now, if you're too laid back, too practical, it's like you don't care. So you're gonna have a problem. So this is where you need a solid college referee, someone who can find a good balance between technicality and practicality. This is where you need to be tough, but you need to be fair at the same time. You know what I mean? This is when you need to be tough and show your human side. They can read that through your nonverbals, right? So if you're too technical, coach, go to your technical area. Coach, go to your technical area. Now you're creating a bigger problem. Instead, if you come along and you share what is it that you're doing and what you expect them to do, and at the same time that you are there to create a path to find a solution, and at the same time you can tell them, coaches, by the way, irresponsible behavior will not be tolerated, they will accept that. But if you just come there to apply the Axtel dismiss U.S. soccer application, forget it, it's not going to work. At the college level, you need to manage each individual differently. It will depend on the type of game you're refereeing, what teams you're refereeing, what type of players, females or males, and what they're playing for, and what type of weather, what time of the year. Is this an NCAA game or a regular conference game? So there's so many things that we need to look, we need to focus on when we're refereeing games, college games. Not everything's going to work, but the main thing is, number one, be honest. Number two, be human. Number three, be tough. Number four, be fair. And if you do those things, all right, I will say 90% of the times you're going to come up on top. Correct?
100%.
So how about taking some questions? You want to give me the thing back so you can answer some questions?
Make Rich the presenter. Okay, I'm sending it back to you, Rich. Okay, it's back on you.
All right, so you can read the questions if they come up.
Okay. They'll come up under my picture? Oh, there's. My day-to-day fitness. Last year in June, I decided to join the fitness program through Pro. So every day they send me a workout. So when I wake up in the morning, I have to do my wellness. And as part of my wellness, I have to tell them how many hours I slept. Do I have any body parts that are injured? How am I feeling? Am I hurting? Did I sleep well? Did I eat? Am I hungry? Am I exhausted? And all that stuff. And then a workout will pop up for the day. Today's workout took me an hour and 40 minutes. It started out with some hip exercises, opening up my hips and loosening up my joints. Then it went into active stretching activities to loosen up my legs. I had to do, because we're all home on quarantine, I have a bike at home. I had to do a 30-minute bike ride for endurance today. And then it went into doing more stuff. So each day it changes, but every day it's about an hour and a half to an hour and 45-minute workout program that's given to me by the trainers from Pro. And what they do is they have a specific game plan for me, whether it's to lose weight, gain speed, have more endurance. So my original workout for today was to do 3 rounds of 7 minutes of doing 15 seconds sprinting, 15 seconds rest. So basically I would have two 15-second sprints. So it's basically like running a 200-meter dash, resting 15 seconds, running a 200 or whatever it is, 100 yards. It was basically, I was running the fitness test today. They took that away from me because I'm just getting over being a little sick. So I had an endurance run. But most of the stuff they're giving me now are stuff that it's explosive activities that are designed to be faster off the turn, because I'm an assistant referee. So it's a little different than the referee's training. Prior to that, before I took the program, I'm still an avid CrossFitter. What I would tend to do is when I get out of work at 3 o'clock, I would go to the gym by 3:30. I would start with an assault bike ride for 30 minutes. Then I would CrossFit workout, and then I would do a 20-minute bike kind of to cool down. So I was still working out 2 hours per day. Now it's just, and now sometimes it's 2.5 to 3 hours because I still like CrossFitting. So I do my Pro workout, take a break, and then go do my CrossFit workout. As far as diet, at this point in my life, they want me to diet, and I'm not dieting. At this point in my life, as long as I still have feet, I'm still at my speed. I still have my endurance. I watch my portion size. That's the biggest thing that they want you to watch is portion size. They want us to do almost like the paleo type diet. They want me to have 6 meals a day. They want me to watch my carbs. They want me to watch my portion size.
Crazy MLS stuff, but you need to do it because you're a professional, you're an athlete, so you need to do it. So stop complaining.
I'm not complaining, but it's at this point I'm not sitting here going and taking a piece of chicken out of the fridge and making sure it's the size of the palm of my hand and then counting that I have 5 pieces of broccoli and 3 pieces of sweet potato. If I want to have 7 pieces of broccoli and a piece of chicken the size of my hand, I'm doing it.
You better stop while you're still ahead, because I do have some.
I don't know who's listening.
You know, I have some pictures of you.
Next question.
Listen, we have some questions here.
Okay.
I'm going to read this question. Number one, they're saying we're already 15 minutes over, and they're right. So whoever needs to go, this is good. This is being recorded, so you can go back and listen to it at a different time. Thank you for being with us.
Yes, thank you.
We apologize for the little audio situation we had with Dr. Joe, but we're going to correct that. Next Friday, Dr. Joe is going to come back, and he's going to be interacting with Robert Sabiga, which is going to be the next presenter next next Friday. Plus, we have a surprise guest that will be popping in next week, say hello and talk about his conferences. So for those of you that can spend a couple more minutes, we can answer some of these questions live. Or if you have to go, have a good night. And tomorrow, log into your email and click on the link, and you'll be able to listen to the end of this clinic. Forget us. We trying to do the best we can. We had this technical problem, and we'll get it resolved for the next one. So let's move on. We have a pretty interesting question here, right? And that is, what would you do as an AR1 or fourth official if you see a referee who happens to be way out of position, right?
Yes.
The decision, makes the call, and it happens to be the right decision, but the fact that he is or she is out of position, perception. Now the coaches are going crazy. What would you do to communicate to the coaches that even though the referee was out of place, he didn't make the right decision? But at the college level, we do have those referees that they feel like they have a connection between the center referee title and the center circle. You know what I mean?
Yes. So for me, if the one thing I would say is like, I understand your point. I understand that he or she was far from play, but I would say, hey, we both can agree that there was contact there and it's the right call. They're going to say, oh, but how can I say, coach, come on. You and I both know that there was contact. You and I both know just because he was a little far from play doesn't mean that the call is incorrect. I can talk to him at halftime and talk to him about getting a little closer to play or stuff like that. But at this point, we know that it's the right call. You're just upset that he or she was a little far from play, and try to calm him down that way.
Very good. And just be human. Tell the truth.
Human, yes.
Tell the truth. There's nothing wrong with telling a coach or a player, right? When you're the fourth official or the AR, it says, no, I understand what you're saying. We saw the same thing. Let me ask him. He probably saw something different. That's why he made a different decision. And I'll get back to you. There's nothing wrong with agreeing with the coach when that's what you saw. Don't always defend your referee. You don't have to defend your referee. Right? It's just be human. And coaches do accept that.
Yeah, like I said in the first clip with me and Dome in New York, the angle I had and the angle he had was different. So the fourth and Dome would have seen a high kick. But where I was positioned, level with play, it wasn't a high kick. So that's one of those things where you say, hey, look, we have a different angle of play. From our view, it looked like this. But from his angle, granted, it may have been a poorer one because he was further from play, but he saw something different from his angle. We saw it from the side. He saw it from the center. There was definitely something. He saw something different than we saw. And a lot of times they'll respect that. They still they'll give you some garbage about him, he or she being too far from play. But again, humanize it a little bit. I get it. I understand. But, it is what it is.
All right, very good. Let's move on to another question.
Sure.
Let's see what we have. This is one of those questions that were emailed earlier. It's all yours.
All right, so my best moments are pretty much all this year. I mean, in 2015, I've had a pretty good career. I've had 2015, I had the All-Star game. That was my first big one. The following year, I had the USL Cup final. But after that, I had the NASL Cup. No, before that, I had the NASL Cup final. And this year, you can't really top this year. Starting the year thinking my career was over and find out that I got the All-Star game, the Open Cup, the AR of the year, the MLS Cup final. There's you really can't have much better of a year than I had this year, and those are probably the best moments. And the MLS Cup was probably the best moment. 70,000 people in a stadium. That was pretty magical. That was probably one of the top, if not the top, of all my games. If you want to think international games, I did have Juventus versus, was it Real Madrid, the one that Messi plays on, in front of almost 90,000 people at MetLife, and my family was there, and they got to come down on the field with me.
Barcelona.
There was, I think, 89,000 people at that game. The most I've ever done. That was absolutely amazing. That game. So those are probably all the best ones of best moments of my career so far.
That's great. That's great. And we have another question here. This is a live question. I'm gonna jump in it and jump to the answer real quick, and then you can give your insight on. When you're talking with the coaches and they do not listen to you, when it's a good time to guard them? Well, let me tell you something. This is college. Number one, a coach is just like a player, right? It's just any human being. When you're upset, you shut down. Your brain shuts down. You're not listening to anything for a few seconds. So the best thing to do as a fourth or as an AR is just let the coach say what he has to say. All right, let the coach get it out. All right, as long as he's not being, threatening people and showing some sort of violent behavior, let him say and do what he has to say. And after that 10, 15 seconds, that's when you approach him in a human, amicable way by saying something like, "Coach, I do understand. Coach, I get it. Coach, I understand you saw something completely different from what we saw. All right? From our angle, this is what we have. That's the decision we made. Like I said earlier, Coach, you're probably 100% right. All right, we'll keep that in mind. All right, but irresponsible behavior will not be tolerated. If you behave that way publicly, I need to deal with you publicly. Let's have this conversation throughout the game. I'll work with you. Work with me. We'll make it happen. Something like that. Go ahead, Brian.
I forgot the question. Oh, the question not listening. So if for me, it's pretty much what you said. It's when you draw that line and they've crossed the line of that disrespect. Most of the coaching outbursts are considered emotional. But when you see it crossing that line to after emotional, that's when you know that it's time to step in. When they make it personal, when you've kind of said, okay, coach, I've heard you, we're going to have to agree to disagree type thing, and they continue to go, they've now crossed the line. They want to be heard, but they have to know when to stop. And most coaches know when to stop, but if they don't know when to stop, that's when you have to stop them. And so draw that line in the sand. Don't have, as they say, rabbit ears. Don't have a really small line in the sand for them. Give them their time, their peace, and then deal with it when they've crossed that line.
Very good. Final question.
Do I have any tips or tricks to improve our player management tracking skills for keeping track of players throughout the game? So one of the things that we do, I do it anyway inside my head, but we do it because we have earpieces, but we kind of say it all the time. We'll say, oh, number 2 foul, or number 5 foul. So if you hear yourself saying number 2 over and over again, you know that number 2 is someone to keep track of for persistent infringement. Or if you say, number 2 fouled 10, number 2 fouled 10, number 2 fouled 10. Oh, now you're saying number 2 over again, you're saying 10 over again. So good things to do is to repeat things to yourself, whether it's inside your head or if you have earpieces, repeat it so the whole crew hears it, because you may forget that you said number 2 twice, but AR2 may remember that you said number 2, and then the second half starts and number 2 has another foul, and he's heard you say it. And then you discuss things at halftime. First thing we do in the locker room, we go in there, even I do it in my college games, say, all right, what do we have to think about from the first half? Who do we have in foul trouble? Who's been fouled more times? We kind of discuss it and get it all for the second half. So we go out there and say, okay, if number 6 does one more, I'm setting him up. If number 6 does a hard one, he gets it right away because he's already on our minds for PI. So things that we kind of do all the time is we say the numbers out. I say the numbers out loud all the time. And if we have a fourth, the fourth usually is tracking those numbers. When we say number 2 did it, he writes it down. When we say he fouled number 10, so he writes 2 in one column, 10 in the other. So he looks down the list, so he can see number 2 has how many fouls, how many times was number 10 fouled. So if you're a fourth, it's not a bad idea to kind of keep track, and then you could help people out. As a field referee, I kind of make mental notes and give warnings to players. If I notice it as the referee, I'll go up to him and say, hey, look, you've had 2 fouls in a minute. Next one, you're going to get one. Or be careful, I'm counting, that's your second. That was my first. No, it's your second. You forgot that one, even if you have to make it up. Let the players know that you're counting fouls. If you're the referee, if you're an AR and you know it's one of the outside backs or outside midfielders, you can let them know, hey, be careful. You've already had 2 fouls. We know, we're watching. Let them know. Sometimes it curbs their behavior. Plus, it puts it into how many times they.
So just to summarize it, be public when you can, or semi-public. And when you have radios, the majority of our college games, we do have radios. We do talk a lot. And let's not forget, on a college game, it's not technically a 1, 2, 3 caution, right?
Correct.
4-second caution. It's more like managing each moment. So just to keep you reminded, and when do you need to approach certain player to change that behavior, or when is a player, setting himself up to commit misconduct without him even knowing. So our job is to prevent things from happening more than dealing with things after they happen. So keeping track of who's doing what, who's getting kicked, or who's doing the kicking is extremely important. Another thing which happens a lot in college is the advantage, because it happens so quick. The majority of the time, referees lose track of numbers. And so as part of our pregame, you need to remind your crew, whatever the trailer AR is, you got to remember that number. I will call that number on the radio and make sure everybody keeps an eye on that number. And when we have to deal with it after the play is over, at least we know who the player was, and we can come back and either have a conversation, or a verbal caution, or a public caution, depending on what the play was. But it's always important to keep talking, right? And especially at the college level, if you have a misconduct that you're gonna have to come back and caution the player for it, make it public. Let them know. So let everybody else know, because you have blind advantage, but the player that was kicked or hurt is on the ground, and he may not care about the great advantage. He may get up and create a mass confrontation for no reason. So if you yell publicly, 15, I'm coming back to you, 15, I'm coming back to you, at least the player that was kicked, here's you saying, okay, he's going to come back and do something. Hopefully it's going to be good enough for me to be satisfied. Something, around that, something like that. So let's go for the last one, and we'll get to go. There you have it.
Yeah. So Stan, so for me, hopefully you're still on the call. You're going to have a little mixture of everything, because through your career you're going to find things that you do that work. You're going to find things that other referees that do well that work. Something that works for me is not going to work for you, and something you do will not work for me. So you have to be true to yourself, but you also have to be willing to change your style as the game needs it too. As I told you, that game that I ran 9.7 miles in, I had to talk to Tambo all the way home on it. I didn't change my style in that game. I was true to who I was, and everyone hated the game. The girls weren't happy. The coaches weren't happy. They thought it was too physical. I thought it was hard but clean. I was true to myself that game, but I wasn't true to that game. And I should have changed my style and called a few different things that probably would have made that game a little easier for me. So in essence, you're going to end up finding the style that works best for you, which is going to be a mash of all the experiences that you've dealt with all different referees and all different types of teams. The way I ref a JUCO game is different than the way I ref a Division III game. It's different than the way I ref a Division I guys game versus a Division I girls game, or even Division III girls game, or whatever it is, or even a high school game. I can't ref a high school game like I do a pro game. Okay, so true to yourself is true to yourself at the level that you are reffing and what that game needs you to do to be successful. Hopefully that makes sense.
So basically, what you're trying to say is that you're not gonna change who you are as a person. Your style as a person. I am Richard no matter what. You're Brian no matter what. So let's think of it as we're actors, right? You still have Robert De Niro, but Robert De Niro is playing different roles depending on the game, depending on the movie. So you're gonna have
Correct.
Robert De Niro in El Padrino, right? The Godfather. You're gonna have Robert De Niro in Taxi Driver, and you're gonna have Robert De Niro in that movie that Meet That You Know What, right? So it's still Robert De Niro, but he's adapting to the role that he's playing that day. So as a referee, we need to do the same thing. When you come into your game, you need to find out what game what game you're refereeing, what type of game, what they're playing for, who's playing, what happened yesterday, what's about to happen tomorrow. If someone loses, someone wins. What happens? What happens? What surface you playing? The weather, so on and so forth. Who you working with? So you need to adapt yourself to today's game. All right. So don't referee the same way every game because every game is different, right? So you need to treat every game differently. Does that make sense?
100%. That's exactly what I was trying to say.
Exactly. I pretty much that's what Brian said. How's that? So thank you, Brian. Thank you very much. Thank you, everybody. We went over by a few minutes because of that problem we had at the beginning, and so I really didn't want to, cut off the beautiful presentation that Brian put together. And but I promise you, next Friday we'll be on time because we will doing more checking audios and stuff like that, like a couple of hours before. We'll start at 5 o'clock instead of 6 o'clock. And so thank you, Brian. Thank you everybody that came in early. Thank you everybody that stayed. Next week we'll have Robert Sabiga, 2018 MLS All-Stars referee. We're gonna have Dr. Joe again. Everybody, I promise you, everybody's gonna hear Dr. Joe. He's gonna have great audio. He's gonna give you great tips, and he's gonna talk about some other stuff. And we are gonna have a surprise guest speaker, and that will be announced next week. All right. So thank you, everybody. Have a beautiful night, and hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good night.